A very good morning to students. Okay, students, previously we have discussed about the elementary profile and the practical profile of a gravity dam. Let's further move ahead with the next thing that is required to be discussed, that is a low gravity dam and a high gravity dam. So what happens when the dam is a low gravity dam and our dam is a high gravity dam? See, all of you know that a dam is designed on the basis of safety and stability. Dam is always designed taking into consideration of the safety and stability, for which the resultant must pass through the middle third portion of the base bit of the dam. That has already been discussed with you all. In order to maintain the stability, in order to maintain the equilibrium, the resultant should pass through the middle third portion of the base bit of the dam. Okay. So the stresses which are acting on a dam has been on a theoretical profile of a dam. The principal stresses calculated for the theoretical profile is given by the equation. So if you want to determine the stress that is acting on a theoretical dam, so directly the equation has been given to you, for which, okay, so the equation is gamma WH SC minus C plus 1, where SC is actually the specific gravity of the concrete, C is the what do you say, it's an uplift coefficient, okay. Gamma W, all of you know, it's the density of water, and H is the height of dam. In theoretical profile, height of dam is the total height of the water. Okay, so these are the terms where H will vary, whereas gamma W is a constant, SC is constant, C is constant. Okay, uplift coefficient. Okay, uh, okay. To avoid the dam failure by crushing, अगर आपको फेलियर क्रशिंग स्ट्रेसेस जो आएंगे, स्ट्रेसेस से क्या होगा, क्रशिंग होगी. कंप्रेसिव स्ट्रेंथ, कंप्रेसिव स्ट्रेसेस से क्या होगा, क्रशिंग होगी. ओके, कंप्रेसिव स्ट्रेसेस बोलो या प्रिंसिपल स्ट्रेसेस बोलो, उससे क्या होगी, क्रशिंग होगी. तो क्रशिंग ना हो तो उसके लिए क्या करना पड़ेगा, योर कंप्रेसिव स्ट्रेस या आपका प्रिंसिपल स्ट्रेस दैट इज सिग्मा शुड बी लेस देन और इक्वल टू द allowable compressive strength. This is allowable compressive strength. Actually, this should be strength. Okay, your compressive stress, or you say it as the principal stress, should be less than or equal to the allowable or a permissible compressive strength. Okay, that is given by the term F. Okay, which says the strength should be greater than or equal to the principal stress. Let's consider it as equal to. Okay, so in that case, the formula for sigma will be valid for F also. Okay, so F is equals to the same formula, gamma W H HC minus C plus 1. Okay, where HC is the specific gravity of the concrete, C is the uplift pressure coefficient, F is allowable compressive strength. Okay, this should be strength. Yeah, allowable compressive stress means how much is the stress allowed. Okay, that is allowable compressive stress. And height of maximum height of the dam, that is H. Okay, so height of the dam can also be formulated as you have been writing the equation in the form of stress, the coming stress and the allowable stress. So I am just rewriting it in the form of H. So H is equals to F upon all this portion, F upon the rest of the portion. Okay, so H, height of the dam, is the thing on which the stress depends. Height of the dam is the thing on which the stress depends. Can you first determine the stress or you determine the height? You first determine the height. How you determine the height? By the survey. The height will going to be defined by the help of the amount of water that is getting stored at that place, that is getting uh, that is coming at that place. The inflow of the water at that place will tell you that how much of the height is required to be set. So with the help of height, you determine that how much of the stress is coming. Okay, with this formula. With the help of height, you determine how much of the stress is occurring. Okay. So the stress is dependent on the height of the dam, as remaining components are constant. All these components are constants. Okay. Now, for low dam, actually for low dam, you will not have much height of water, because of which there will be very low, very much, very light uplift pressure, which is which is required to be neglected, as it is very low. It can be neglected, and for which the uplift pressure coefficient will again going to get zero. Okay, so here the term or the component C will get eliminate, so the remaining components will be H max. For low dam, you need to determine the height, that how much should be the height. We are reframing this equation for high dam and low dam. Okay, so for low dam, as you know, the height will be very less, so the amount of water will be very less. The amount of water that is stored behind will be very less, because of which the uplift pressure will be very less, so the uplift pressure constant is getting zero. Okay, now the formula becomes this, which simply eliminates the component at the denominator, that is C. Okay, rest of the things are just as it is. Okay, let's come to the high dam. So high dam is a complicated structure. If you will take not the normal height but more than that, so that will be considered as a high dam. So high dam, what will that high dam is going to do? Why you are going to first construct this high dams? This high dams are getting constructed because of the requirement at that places, because of the requirement at that place where the inflow is getting where the inflow is getting accumulated more and more, because of which that high dam height is required. Okay, so on increasing the height of the dam, because of the water that is getting accumulated at that place, you will find that the horizontal water pressure is getting increased, because of which there are the chances that the resultant may cause to pass through the point outside the middle third portion of the base width of the dam. Okay, there are the chances that the resultant may occur, or resultant may cause to pass outside the middle third portion of the base width of the dam. Okay, now in order to avoid this thing, because as you need this height, there is no other thing which you can do. You will have to increase the height because of the water that is accumulated at the upstream side, because of which you will find the water pressure is getting increased, because of which the resultant is tend to cause to occur at the point outside the middle third portion of the base width of the dam, because of which there are chances the dam will get failed. So in order to keep the resultant within the safe limit, something is required to, like, incorporate or modify it into your dam structure, and that thing is the extra slope. The extra slope is required to be provided on the upstream side as well as on the downstream side. Just look at the phase. What you are going to do? See, this is the elementary profile of your dam. You are finding that this height is maximum. The height is getting max, because of which what you need to do, you need to provide the extra slope. That means the extra height with an extra slope at the upstream and the downstream portion of the dam, in order to have now the more self weight, right? The more self weight and the broader thickness. This will make your resultant tend to again fall within the middle third portion of the base width of the dam. Okay, so this is what the thing which is required to be modified in high dam, whereas in low dam you are just required to eliminate one portion, that is the C part. Okay, the rest of the things are just almost same. So this is it about the high dam and low dam. So there is something which is mostly asked in your RTMNE examination, that is a derivation. derivation in which you need to determine the base width of the dam based on two criteria. You need to determine B based on two criteria. One is stress criteria and the second one is sliding criteria. Okay. So very firstly, let's start with the stress criteria. Let's determine the width of the dam. Okay. Let's start with drawing the elementary profile where the water pressure P will act at the distance h by 3 from base. Okay, the self weight will fall from the CG at the downward side, that is W, and the resultant of P and W will fall at point D. Let's suppose it falls at D. Okay, because the height of the dam is H, that means the water is there is a full level of water there. So the R is tend to fall at D only. Okay, stress criteria. So let's draw the stress diagram. Okay, stress diagram says there is no pressure at the toe point. Okay, because the water is not available at this portion, so there will be no stress at the toe point. Whereas at the heel point, you will have the stress as gamma W, right? Because it is the uplift pressure because of water, so the value will be gamma W, that is the water, the density of water, and the height of water that is causing this uplift pressure, that is H, and the uplift pressure coefficient, that is C. Gamma W into H into C will be the stress value at the heel side. Okay, so let's determine the stress U. Okay, let's determine the stress. This is the pressure value. Okay, this is the pressure at this portion. So let's determine the stress value, that is U. U will act at the CG of this figure. Okay, which will be again B by 3 from this bigger side. Okay, hope so it is clear to all of you. So there are three forces that are acting. So let's start with the stress criteria and determine the term B. So stress criteria. In any case, the resultant should not pass outside the middle third portion. Okay, so in stress criteria, when the stresses are acting on the dam, the resultant should pass through point D. Okay, and to maintain the equilibrium, let's apply the moment equation at point D. Again, the same thing has been written, which has already been told to you, that for maintaining the equilibrium, for maintaining the stability, you need to apply the equations of equilibrium. That is, very first, all the forces in x direction equals to 0, all the forces in y direction equals to 0, and the third one, all the movements at any point is equals to 0. Since we are applying the stress criteria, since we are applying the stress criteria and the resultant is passing through point D, so the moment will be taking at point D. So the all the force, all the moment, all sorry, moment of all the forces at point D is equals to 0. So let's start taking the moment of all the forces. So the very first force is P into H by 3, the second C into B by 3. First one will be positive, second one will be negative, and the third one U into B by 3. This will again be positive, positive, negative, positive. Okay. So just separating the term. Okay. Keeping the B terms at one side and the H term at the other side. Okay. So taking out the common, eliminating this 3 from the denominator, taking the common term out. Okay, so the equations become P into H, B bracket W minus U. So as you need to determine the base width, just convert the equation in the form of B and rewrite it. So the equation becomes B equals to P into H upon W minus U. Okay, is it clear to all? As this has already been discussed, that the value of P, all of you must be knowing that how to determine the value of P. P is the water pressure, the formula for which will be area of figure. So half into the base pressure into the height, that makes gamma W h square by 2, and the value of W is the self weight, the value of self weight is area into density of concrete. So area is half into base into height. Area of this concrete dam is half into base into height, and gamma c. So gamma c can be rewritten as specific gravity of concrete into gamma W, as it has been already told to you in the previous lecture. Also, the uplift pressure, that is U, can be rewritten as, since the diagram is a triangle, again the value of U will be the area of figure, that is half into base into height, that is half into gamma W into H into C multiplied by B. Gamma W H into C, half gamma W H into C multiplied by B. So this becomes the formula for U. Okay. C is uplift pressure constant, that has already been told to you. So the base width becomes, we are just putting up the value of this P, this H, sorry, not H, this U and W. So this has been rewritten in this form, where you can see that 2 is the denominator, 2 is the denominator, that is common, so we can eliminate it out. Okay. Gamma W is also the term which is common, so we can eliminate it out. H is also the term which is common, so it can also get eliminated. So let's see what it becomes. Gamma W H square by 2 multiplied by H. Here half is common, B is common, gamma W is common, H is common. So common terms are written separately, and in bracket there is the unique terms, that is rho minus C. Okay. Here you can see gamma W gets cancelled, half gets cancelled, and this H gets cancelled. So it becomes B can be multiplied here. So it becomes B square. Here it becomes H square. Here it becomes rho minus C. So if you want to find the formula for B, it becomes H upon under root of rho minus C. So for the stress criteria, the base width is found out, or can be found out, by this formula. This is the formula for base width with respect to the stress criteria. I hope it is clear to all of you students. So with respect to sliding criteria, let's determine the base width, the formula for base width again. So with respect to the sliding criteria, when we are determining the base width, for the stability condition, very first thing to be satisfied is sliding नहीं होना चाहिए. Sliding नहीं होगी, stable रखना है, तो कैसे होगा? उसके लिए आपको ये देखना पड़ेगा कि resisting force should be equal to or greater than the sliding force. Sliding force ज्यादा रहेगा तो slide हो जाएगा ना. So resisting force should be greater, or resisting force should be equal to sliding force. Correct है? So that is what I'm telling you over here, that the resisting force should be equal to the sliding force, or resisting force should be greater than sliding force. Let's consider it as equal right now, as we are deriving an equation. So greater sign or the smaller sign will not going to help us anywhere. So we are just going to take the equating sign, that is equals to. Okay. Now here, the force which is causing sliding is, which force is causing this sliding? This is P. And the force which is resisting this slide is this friction force, right? This friction force is termed as F. The formula for friction is, all of you will be knowing this, that the formula for friction is mu n, where mu, आपको पता है, is the coefficient of friction. Mu is the coefficient of friction, and n is the normal reaction. Normal reaction will be the sum of all the vertical forces, that is W minus U. N is W minus U. Correct? So mu n, the formula for friction is mu n. So mu and n value is W minus U. This becomes the value of friction. Okay. Now here you know the value of W and U. You are simply going to put up the value of W and U over here. So you have a simply written the values, these values, W and U values has been simply written over here. Okay. What you are going to do? You are going to take out the common terms from it. That is half, again the B, again the H, and the gamma W. So the remaining are rho minus C. Here the value will be same, the terms will be same. Here what you can see that the denominator 2 can get eliminated, the term H can get eliminated, gamma W can get eliminated, the remaining portions are mu, B, rho minus C. Here the remaining portion is H. So the formula for base weight becomes B equals to H upon mu multiplied by rho minus C. This is the formula for base weight with the sliding criteria. So for elementary profile, you will, as you all know, that elementary profile के लिए अपलिफ्ट प्रेशर कांस्टेंट C हम जीरो लेते हैं, तो आप सीधे सीधे elementary profile के लिए C को जीरो ले लोगे. I hope this is clear to all of you. So this is it with the topic 1 of unit 3. I hope you all have understood it very well. So thank you very much.